Hi, everyone. It's been a long time since I've been on to do a video. I hope you're all doing well. As you can see, I'm in a different place now. A lot has changed since last I was on. I have since moved. Um, we are gonna move as a school and for September. We have a lot a lot of change going on, a lot of good things going on, which is good news for the craziness that has happened this year thus far and lots of last year as well. And so I hope you're doing well. We're getting to the end of the semester. It's crazy to believe that we are almost to May and that school is almost over. I just can't even believe. But the end of school is happening here. So what does that mean? Recitals are coming up. We have our big recital of the year and recognition ceremony happening the first weekend of June downtown. I'm so excited. You're gonna be video recorded, and we're gonna be taking some pictures and get all dressed up and invite your family and friends. This is something that all of our students have been working the whole year on. This is like the culmination of everything. I, as a director of a music school who doesn't get to see the students, every day and doesn't get to hear everything that's happening in the studio, I'm so excited to hear these students. This is just the time for them to shine, not the time to get nervous, although that is part of it too, but it is the time to shine. This is what you've been working so hard on. So I was thinking back on some fun recital stories in my past and just some other things. My first experience with a recital, it was more of an opera performance, but it was the first one I can remember as a young child. I think I was in kindergarten. And my mom, who was a teacher at this school, she's a singer. She was a singer. She played piano too, but she's a singer. She was working with the National Opera Company, and so she used to be my elementary music teacher, believe it or not, at Root Elementary. Root, yay! We She was contracted to supply the gingerbread chorus for Hansel and Gretel. They did it every Christmas. The National Opera Company would come through Raleigh. I don't think they're around anymore, unfortunately, but they would come around, and so they would contract her to supply the kids to do the chorus. And I was too young, and my brother and I are a year apart, and we were both too young to do the gingerbread chorus. But she, being a single parent, we needed a place for us to stay, so she had us become uh, woodland creatures, so that it takes place in the woods, and so they would have kids be animals in the wood, like a leopard or a bunny or anything like that. And so my brother was a rabbit, a bunny rabbit, and I was a leopard at some point, and we got to crawl around the stage while they were singing. It's such a great opera. If you have never seen opera and you know that story, it's just a good opera to start with. You might find that on YouTube. But I was in kindergarten, and this was after rehearsal one night. This was downtown at Memorial Auditorium before they did all the renovations, and it made a Mamondi and like all the three different concert halls. It was just one concert hall back then. We were hanging out. We were hanging out um, outside the building, so in the back, outside the building, where you go into the dressing rooms and stuff. And I was sitting on a metal railing. It was pretty loose in the ground. And I fell off the railing. The railing was, I guess, very loose, and I fell off, and then the metal railing fell over my eye, and I was bleeding everywhere. I was screaming, crying. All the opera singers, everybody was like going, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh!" And so the metal railing fell right over my eye, broke my bone in my eye, and so I had to get stitches and everything. And I just remember that feeling of, I had never had stitches before. I'd never broken a bone. I never had anything. And then I note to self, do not sit on metal railings outside of anywhere, especially if they're loose. And so went and got my stitches, and I was like, please don't give me stitches. I don't want stitches. I remember saying that as a kid, and they were like, oh no, you're not going to get stitches. And guess what? I got stitches and I didn't know. So that was like my first experience with a recital. Uh, my mom always told a story that my brother and I, one time my mom was singing a recital, I think at a church or something. And I think she started to sing a song that we both knew. And we both, my brother and I guess, were sitting with my grandparents and we ran up on stage and started to sing with her. So that was kind of funny. I'm trying to think of, we have done all as a school, we've been around since 2012. And I remember being we did it at a church downtown at Hillier for a few years. And the recitals, we tried to do, believe it or not, we tried to do all the recitals in one recital. So it was like 2.5 hours, 3 hours long. That was crazy. That was crazy. I had, this is kind of sad, but we had, I guess a year ago. This is it was funny, but also at the same time it was like I feel bad for him. But we were doing a recital at a retirement home, and it was this person's turn to sing, or yeah, just to sing. And so looked and I guess made a mistake or just forgot to come in, or whatever happened. Those things happen all the time. Geez, can I tell you how many times it's happened for me? But he looked out of the audience, and it was a retirement home where you can go out the back and there's like a window. And so he turned around and ran and went out the door, and everybody watched him run down the street. It was kind of funny. You have to laugh at it a little bit because it was kind of funny, because it was not like one of those things where you just vanish and it's like, but we could see it for a while. We've all had that stuff. My mom reminded me last year that I ran off the stage one time or something when I was younger, I think in high school or something, and I forgot. So we all have had those moments where we run off the stage. Can you think of some funny recital time? The point, I guess, of me talking about this is that it's gonna happen. We're not Things will happen, in performing. You just never know if it's going to happen to you, but we have these flubs sometimes. It's just, you should plan on it and to be able to laugh at it later, because if you don't, then what is the other side of this is that you get discouraged and never want to do it again. And it's not about that one time getting up and performing, right? It is not the end of the world if you mess up. It's not the end of it's not the only thing if you do wonderfully, right? It is the culmination of events. It's doing it over and over again, but it's also how you feel about yourself afterwards. I always tell people my favorite part of the recital is not the recital itself. It's not the clapping. It's not seeing all the people there. It's not hearing beautiful music, although that's a really nice plus. It is watching the performer after they're finished, after the clapping is done, to go to their seat or they go off stage and they have this air of like, I did this. And there, of course, it's subtle because, they just did this thing. And so it's like, it's this contained thing, but it is like, I got this. I got this. And that, I just think there's nothing out there that can provide that feeling other than getting up and doing things that make you afraid, make you scared, and being in front of people. So I think that's why performing is so good, not to brag or to be showy or anything like that. It's more about the inner feeling of like accomplishment and of like, I am worthy no matter what happens, no matter how much applause I get, no matter any of that. And I just think there's just nothing else like it. Can you think of any funny recital stories? I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, I'm sure that I have made up words, being a singer, making up words all the time. Or I recall even as an adult, wasn't really funny, but I was auditioning for an opera, and all of a sudden I felt dizzy. Like I wasn't breathing, and I felt dizzy. And so I had to stop and start again. And like, and we always tell our students, don't do that, don't do that, just keep going, keep going. But I got so dizzy that I had to start again. So those things happen. It just is a fact of life, and you got to be able to laugh at it. Uh, no matter how good you are, no matter how many times you've done it, sometimes things just happen, and that's okay. But I look forward to hearing you guys, especially in the beautiful hall where it's like resonates and it's just everything is so pristine um and just professional, and everybody's there to share. And so I just love that. So let me know in the comments if you have a funny recital story or performance story. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.